Our second daily headline is Furious George. Former NBA head coach George Karl did not mince words in his criticism of Carmelo Anthony. This coming from his book set to be released early next year. Now, when speaking of his time with Melo in Denver, Karl said he was a user, addicted to the spotlight, and had a low demand of himself on defense. Karl also made harsh comments about Carmelo's upbringing. So did these remarks say more about George Karl or more about Carmelo Anthony, Eamon?
I think they say more about George Karl, but I'm certainly not taking Carmelo Anthony off the hook because Karl coached him. But I mean, George Karl throughout his career has always come across as that angry, get off my lawn type of guy. I mean,
what's wrong with that?
No, there's nothing.
That's Bob, right?
Yeah, look, I mean, certainly, I think you hear what he said. Carmelo doesn't want to play defense, and Carmelo does want the ball, and Carmelo also forced a trade. So I mean, I think George Karl obviously does not think highly of Carmelo Anthony, but when you read the venom, I think it does not make Karl look in a positive light.
Let me tell you something. You're missing one point here, and I'll educate you, okay?
Please do, Bob.
He's come up with a brilliant way to sell this book. What better way than rip the guy, Carmelo Anthony, guy from the biggest media market, come out and as you said, with venom and just rip this guy, because a lot of the stuff he's saying, people have thought for a long time. So I'm thinking it's a business move by him.
But how ironic is it to call Carmelo Anthony a user and one spotlight,
Exactly.
but then use Carmelo for your book and get
What's a shock?
Yeah, it's a little ridiculous.
No, you're right. Especially, I mean, the guy's a cancer survivor. You expect him to have maybe a more positive outlook. Maybe he's just selling books. But the thing is, you said we've thought this, but we've also heard this.
Yeah.
George Karl has kind of said this at times over the years, so it isn't all new. When you put it all together, it sounds worse. But I don't think Knicks fans are going to be shocked by it. And I think you'd have to say Carmelo has grown up a lot from those early years in Denver. I no doubt he was probably a headache to coach then. I think he's grown up since.
Now you know what we have to look forward to, everybody. Phil Jackson's book when he leaves here. What he's going to say about Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah, and by the way,
Stuck on 11 Rings is going to be the title.
Stuck on the triangle is going to be the title, I'm
at least
sure.
George Karl didn't call him a ball stopper like Phil Jackson.
Oh, I mean, he is. I mean,
he is. I know.
But I mean, what does this say about maybe the player-coach bond? For George Karl to come out and say that, you know, he didn't have a father to show him how to be a man, there's certain comments that definitely cross the line. That's undeniable.
Well, you know, Taylor, this thing was coming on for a while because if you remember, when Carmelo was traded, Karl was quick to come out and just rip him right away. So
he said it was like a pimple or a blister being popped.
Right, and at that time he came out and hammered him. So this isn't really something that should surprise anybody. I agree with you. Some of those comments, you know, go over the top.
That's playing amateur psychologist when you don't probably have all the facts there as well, I wouldn't think.
Yeah, now Karl, of course, was also he criticized J.R. Smith, Kenyon Martin, and the book.
He had a lot of guys to criticize.
Yeah, he did. And that book is set to come out in January. That is not
Other than that, it's a
promotion for the book.